Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome once again to our virtual classroom. And today we are going to be going over area once again. Area of a parallelogram and area of a triangle. However, ladies and gentlemen, we're not going to necessarily be finding the area. Rather, given the area, all right, given the area, like they're going to give us the area, we want to find the missing side, or rather the missing measure. The missing measure, because obviously the height is not part of the side, but we're going to be finding the missing measure. So this is a bit misleading. You should say finding the missing measure given the area. Finding the missing measure given the area. And so let's begin with this parallelogram that we see right here. Let us begin with this parallelogram. Now, it's not a rhombus. I can already tell the sides are not the same, but opposite sides are parallel. And so we know, so it is a parallelogram. And notice how the area is given to us, area. That means that the area that this shape covers, all right, if this was a rug, how much it would cover, it would be 32 feet squared, or 32 square feet. All right, but notice that we have the height. We know the height. We know the shortest. This is basically the shortest distance between one base to the other base, and here we have the other base. But we don't know the base. All right, remember the way that we get area for a parallelogram is we do base times height, base times height. But I don't know the base. So that's okay, ladies and gentlemen. Notice that there's three elements. So we need the area. We need the area. Where we have the area, we have the base, and we have the height. And having two of those elements, doesn't matter if you have the base and the height, or if it's the height and the area, or the area and the base. As long as you have two of those, you can easily figure out the missing element, the missing measure, if you will. And the way that we do that, ladies and gentlemen, is using the formula to make an equation. Using the formula. So step number one, ladies and gentlemen, step number one is to write the formula down. We're working with area, and area, the formula for area depends on the shape. A parallelogram is different than a triangle, it's different than a circle, it's different than whatever. So in this case, because it is a parallelogram, so you need to be able to recognize the shape, we know that area is going to be base times height. Area is going to be base times height. So I wrote down my formula. And then number two, ladies and gentlemen, number two, I'm going to put the given values into the formula. In other words, I'm going to look over here and see, what do I have? Well, I have the area, I have the height, but I do not have the base. Okay, but that doesn't matter. So I'm going to actually substitute the variables into the formula. Notice my area is 32 feet. So instead of using an A, I'm going to use the actual value. Area is 32 feet. So I'm going to put 32 right there. Base, I don't know the base, but I know that the height is 8 feet. So instead of putting an H, I'm going to put an 8. I'm going to put it in here. You could put times 8, parentheses 8. It doesn't matter as long as you know that you're multiplying. And so in essence, ladies and gentlemen, what I have here is 32. Notice this equation is equal to 8b. 8b, because b 8 times 8 is the same thing as 8b. Remember, we want to have the number in front of the variable. And finally, ladies and gentlemen, what we all know is that whenever we're working with equations, our goal is always to isolate the variable. Isolate the variable. Let's just solve the equation. We need to isolate the variable. So obviously, I want to isolate the variable. We know that the variable is here on the right side, so I'm not even going to worry about the left. And so the opposite of multiplying b by 8 is to divide by 8. So I'm going to divide by 8 so that I can cancel that out. Thus, b is now isolated, but whatever I do to one side, I do to the other. 32 divided by 8 is equal to 4. All right. Again, ladies and gentlemen, we are given the area. We want to find the missing measure. In this case, to find the area, I'm missing the base. So I write down the formula, area of a parallelogram. Area is equals base times height. So I use a formula. Everybody, I want you guys to start with the formula. Okay, now we're going to put the values that we know into the formula. Do I know the area? Yes, the area is 32. So I put 32. Do I know the base? No, so I'm going to leave the variable right there, b. Do I know the height? Yes, I'm going to put 8 for the height. So 32 is equal to 8b. And finally, I just I solve the equation, I isolate the variable, and my answer is 4, meaning the base is 4. And is 4 times 8 equal to 32? It is, ladies and gentlemen, this totally works. Now, notice that this is the answer to number 1. This is number 1 from your assignment. So if you go to your assignment, notice that that is exactly what we just did. All right, the base would be 4 feet. All right, let's try the next one together. Again, let us begin. This is a parallelogram. So immediately, the first thing you need to do, ladies and gentlemen, is write down the formula that you need. All right, we have the area. So the area formula is base times height. All right, now let's just fill in the values that we know. We have the area, which is 242. That is going to be equal to whatever the base is, which the base is given to me, which is 22, times the height, which I do not know what the height is in this case. I don't know what the shortest distance from here to here is. And remember that we want it to be perpendicular. All right, so now I have an equation. I can solve this equation. All right, I need to isolate the variable. I need to isolate this h. So the opposite of multiplying h by 22 is to divide it by 22. But whatever I do to one side, I must do to the other. So h will equal to whatever 242. So I need to work that out. Make sure that, notice how I'm showing my work. This is how I want you to show your work in your notebook. All right, so you'll have written number 2, and you're working this out. 242 divided by 22. 22 can go into 24 one time. That's going to be a remainder of 2. Bring down the 2. 22 goes into 22 one time. So ladies and gentlemen, that means that my height has to be 11. You can check this, do 11 times 22. And if it gives you 242, ladies and gentlemen, that is your height. Easy enough. All right, so that is a parallelogram, and that's what you're going to do for a lot of these. But eventually you're going to get to a triangle. All right, so in the next video, you will see how we do this using the formula for a triangle. So go ahead and try some of these. And once you're done, go ahead and watch the next video.